And we are live. We are officially back with episode 8 of Watch What Now, the podcast where we watch the good, the bad, and everything in between. And it is also most of the time my wonderful co-host journey into the horror genre. And speaking of her, I am Eric from Hey Internet Eric here, and with me is my wonderful co-host and someone I consider a good friend. She's an AVN Hall of Famer, former radio show host, and the woman who, when I was actually looking for a co-host, I didn't just think, well, there's Melissa, Miss Melissa Hill. How are you tonight, Melissa?
Thank you. I'm good. I
Good,
see
good.
you're referring to the story of how I ended up in Orgasmo.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
I,
Melissa.
I take a lot of notes, and I like to make these fun. It's been a while. You're currently in the middle of nowhere. Still waiting for the big move to finally be done.
Yes.
You still buried in snow?
Yes. Yes. Very. Yes. I think it's starting to turn to. Well, it's in that slushy stage because it hasn't been hot enough to
Mm-hmm.
melt anything yet. So it's kind of that in between powder, slushy powder, not fresh powder, but slushy powder and ice.
Yeah, yeah.
And
We
cold.
are. It's
Oh, we,
it's it's starting to finally warm up here. It's still snowy and shitty out, but at least I don't have to get anything off my driveway. And with our new place, I'm in the middle because we share. We got a 3-car garage, so I'm in the middle. So it's not like I could just take the shovel and push it all the way to the left or all the way to the right. I got to go all the way down the sidewalk and do it. And you don't realize how out of shape you are until you got a freaking shovel, especially Illinois snow.
yeah. I tried doing some snow shoveling yesterday. We have in the house that I'm moving into,
Hmm.
there's a rooftop deck that's flat, and I just wonder why? Why? Why did I mean it's above an extension like whatever year it was done because the house is built from 1812. So at some point
Hmm.
in time, some previous owner knocked down a partial brick wall and made an L-shaped uh, addition onto the house, and most of
Hmm.
it is a sunroom. It's just a room with nothing but floor to ceiling windows. And so on top of that, they decided to make that a deck. And it's just, so I'm out there shoveling and I'm like, I could do, and I'm standing out there yesterday and I just stood there and there's one neighbor whose house I could see. So I'm like, if I
Hmm.
could see them, I know they can see me. They might be laughing their ass off right now watching me because I was just like, why?
Yeah.
So the day before I'd used a snow shovel that had like a metal edging, and I
Hmm.
noticed it was scraping the paint off, and it's supposed to be protective paint. So yesterday I used this thing called a snow broom,
Okay.
um, which is basically like a piece of rubber on a stick, and you just push it. Like I guess you could use it on your car or
Okay.
vehicle, so it doesn't have brushes on it to
Scratch the
bristle.
paint.
Yeah, it doesn't it doesn't have bristles, yeah, to scratch the paint or the windows. So I decided, bright idea. I'll use the snow broom on this deck, and I'm literally just pushing it, but all it's doing is like pushing snow out to either side. And then I get to the edge where there's like a railing and it all just stops at the railing. It gets
Hmm.
stuck at the railing. So I have to bend down and I got my gloved hand and I'm just like pushing the snow over the deck through the railing. And I'm just laughing the whole time because this is so
Jeez.
fucking stupid. I'm like, there's got to be a better way. So I don't know if anyone has any ideas on the better way. Like I thought, before it snowed, maybe I should have covered it with a tarp, and then theoretically I could just go out there and shake the tarp.
Yeah. And then the neighbors will be staring at you now. What's the crazy lady doing?
Right, exactly. It's reminding me way too much of when I lived in LA and we had a balcony and the Santa Ana winds were coming and or the Santa Ana winds were there. We had a leak and so we were, putting tarps outside and I'm out
Hmm.
with the tarp, and it's like blowing all over the place, and my hair was literally standing on end because the wind was so windy.
Yeah, it tends to be.
The wind was so windy. It's kind of like bringing me back. It's bringing me back, giving me trauma flashbacks to that time. So I don't know what to do.
That's
But
we got to get those shovel snow blowers that I showed you that video on. I think
right,
that
like, I don't want to just leave the snow there, because I figure the weight of the snow is going to eventually. I don't want the roof to collapse, and
right.
and when you move into a house, they don't always give you an instruction manual. So anyway, I see. Does anybody have any ideas? No.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will give a shout out to Patrick. You and him were having a little chat. It's good to see Patrick tonight. And tonight, this is episode 8. This was an idea somewhat of yours. I remember I was taking a nap. It was afternoon nap, and I woke up, and it's a text. And Melissa herself, she was listening to NPR, and she, for some reason, told me that they were talking about tonight's subject, shopping mall. And I said this would be perfect for the podcast. And Melissa's been in, she's dealt with through this journey at lots of genres. We've had a slasher film, a body horror film, zombies, and now we're basically dealing with technology gone bad. The basic, I guess you would say, plot, it's a very thin plot, which is known.
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of workers from the mall. They are going to stay after the mall is closed to have some sexy time and drink some beers. And they are basically hunted down by these robots that is the new mall security for some reason that shoots lasers, and they have, oh my God, plastic explosives and stuff that shouldn't be on a robot.
Coincidentally, it all happens. The sexy time party just happens on the same day that they're, releasing this new security system / robots.
Exactly.
What could go wrong?
Well, we will definitely see. Let's see if I can do this here. Like I said, this was what was it, 1986?
1980. Yes, 1986.
Let's see if I could do this right here. Share this. Let's see here. There we go. Chopping mall right there. And what initial thoughts well, first off, we seem to get away from the Sherman Oaks Galleria, Melissa, from our last episode with Valley Girl. And initial thoughts on this film as you were sitting down, like, did you think this was going to be another Troll 2? Were you rolling your eyes right away, or were you just kind of still getting those 80s mall vibes, from last episode?
Yeah, well, each time after we do a show,
Mm-hmm.
after we do a podcast and we announce like whatever the next episode is going to be about, I always kind of do a sneak peek. So I did a sneak peek right after I watched Valley Girl, or it might have been right after we did the discussion about Valley Girl, which was at the same time, because I always watched the movie they were going to discuss the same day as the show, so that it's fresh in my mind. Anyway, so I went and I couldn't get malls out of my mind. I started watching Chopping Mall, and I was kind of like, it did seem a little like, because I forget the actress's name, but the gal that plays Allison.
That is Allison. Where is she? Kelly Maroney.
Yes, she was in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and so I'm immediately in Fast Times at Ridgemont High mode, watching film, because if I remember correctly, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, she also works in a pizza place. Okay, so that's just like right where my mind is going, and and so it's almost like I can't even pay attention to the dialogue that's happening in Chopping Mall, because I'm hearing the dialogue that's talking about in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and seeing her face, I was like, this can't be so bad. And then I also it also hit me today
Mm-hmm.
when I was finished watching the movie that her female buddy in the
Mm-hmm.
movie, who plays Susie, was actually in The Young and the Restless. So I immediately felt very comfortable watching these two female characters because I didn't think anything terrible was going to happen because, Susie, I recognized her,
Mm-hmm.
and Allison, I recognized her, and I was just like, okay, this is
Yep.
good. What's going
Yep.
to happen? And I was just like, why is it called Chopping Mall? Like so far, so the first time I did the sneak peek, I only made it to about the point where they were leaving work to get ready for the party, where they were in
Okay.
the locker room and the gratuitous naked girls are walking by.
If you know the director Jim Wynorski, he's known for that type of stuff. He loves to, and then we definitely saw it in this movie, close-ups of the female body, whether it's necessary or not. Yeah.
Right. So I was like, I mean, I've never worked. I take that back. I have worked in the mall before, but I don't
Mhm.
ever recall there being a locker room or a
That's
dress.
what I was wondering too. I didn't think. I thought basically you showed up in your uniform and you went home in your uniform.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's not a gym.
apparently in his world it's different. Yeah. It was
Yeah.
like, so anyway, so I think that's about where I turned it off.
Okay.
And that to me, it seemed like kind of a late start in the horror aspect of it. Because
Mm-hmm.
in the previous movies that we've watched, if I remember, I don't know, it just seems like there's already some sort of like suspenseful music happening or something that I already know, something terrible is going to happen. In this film, all that happened that I noticed immediately was lightning, and I'm like, uh-oh. so,
Yep.
so that was my sneak peek. And then tonight I started watching it and I went all the way back to the beginning, um, started over again. And uh and I don't know how I missed it, but the security guard, the like science guys that are
Mm-hmm.
watching the monitor, it's their science because they're wearing jackets, they're wearing white
Yes.
coats. so
Exactly.
so they're some sort of scientist. I don't know why they're working in a mall security, but
A job's a job, and I thought it was kind of interesting because what I did like is it starts off with this thug who's robbing the mall, and he is basically, killed and taken out by this robot that literally, kills him and then says its line, "Have a nice day." And then we find out, like with this picture here, it is basically a guy telling all these, I'm assuming investors or something like that, that this is the new mall security system. Every night at midnight, it's locked down, like complete with like doors that look like they're right out of freaking Star Trek. You know what I
right.
mean? Even with the sound effects, they went shoo and
Boom.
locked. Yeah. So he's given this spiel, and then we do meet the characters, like you said. We met Susie, who is Barbara Crampton. She's a scream queen. We will see her again when we get to your boy Shelley's request of Puppet Master. And we met, what was her name again? We met Allison, played by Kelly Maroney, and they're just talking about how much they hate their job. That fat, disgusting. I guess you would say they were dealing with that fat, disgusting customer. Just talking about how they can't wait to leave and go party. And she's not really a stick in the mud. She's just kind of, you can tell she's not used to that life.
Right.
And it's just Barbara Crampton and Susie just trying to convince her. And then basically she's like, well, do you want to have a party, or do you want to be, stuck serving, the cook here, dealing with their boss,
Which nowadays that absolutely would not pass, especially in LA where everything has an A, B, C, or D grading. Like
Mm-hmm.
that guy.
Yeah.
that would, and yeah. Anyway, that's funny. I had no idea that the gal from Young and the Restless was a scream queen.
Yeah, she's oh god, she's gonna be in a movie that's at least on the list, Reanimator. the first Puppet Master. She's been doing horror movies since the 80s, and she's still doing them up to this date. You know, she's at the conventions and all the time. She's like a very in demand horror queen. So I didn't know she was. I didn't actually know she was on The Young and the Restless. I didn't know she did soap operas.
Yeah, she played Leanna Love.
God.
And the reason it stood out was because of her big blue eyes, you know. So
Well, yeah, that's true. I mean, she does have big blue eyes.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it's her. Maybe, you know, maybe I should have fact checked that before but I'm pretty certain that it's her.
Hey, you know what? The people listening and watching get what they pay for with this show. We do the best research we can, which is we assume that this person is who we're thinking about.
So what? So I guess I didn't really count that first killing as a killing because it was the introductory video.
Right.
So, you know,
Yeah.
I did love though how he was stealing cheapo rhinestone jewelry. Yeah. Anyway, the smash and grab. But when the movie actually starts, for me, the first thing that stood out was the carpet.
The carpet, really.
A lot of carpet was in that mall, and all I could think about was how disgustingly dirty that carpet must be. Like everything that is spilt on that carpet, gum that, you know, all the feet that have walked on that carpet, and yeah, it just like that's what stood out nowadays because I don't think. Well, I haven't been to a mall in a really long time. I don't think they have carpet anymore.
We took our daughter to the mall maybe 4 or 5 months ago, and the only carpet I noticed was like maybe inside like the bookstore or something like that. But other than that, like in the main area, not at all. One thing I really liked was like kind of like the opening montage. You know, again, kind of like Valley Girl. It was all the people in their environment, but it was sped up. Like you had that poor kid with the ice cream cone who's in the elevator, and he gets smushed against the wall by all the shoppers. And you know, Jim, like I said, Jim Wynorski, he has to show some female skin. There just happens to be a bikini contest going on.
That part didn't make sense to me. I was like, are these the beauty girls that are supposed to be standing next to the
like
new
a car?
Ante, a la, you know, Kelly Bundy.
Yep.
But
and then you had also like the kids on the skateboards. You had one guy walk out of the mall, and he's obviously trying to steal like a VCR under his shirt, and you can like see the outline of the fucking VCR box.
I thought it was an album.
It could have been, but all I know is there's no way that the mall guy couldn't see that. So I thought it's kind of setting obviously the tone of the movie that you're just going to be in for some goofy stuff. So
somebody says, "Oh, yeah, the sweet Jesus, that chef looks like a walking cause of diphtheria."
Oh, that's Marty. Marty, wow, Marty, you're up late. Marty's all the way in Ireland.
Oh,
jeez.
Hey, Marty.
Yeah, thanks, Marty. Thanks for showing up. So I literally wrote, okay, Allison and Susie, they're at work. They're dealing with their nasty boss and the fat slob. Lightning. So this is where the lightning strikes the mainframe because, you know, that makes all robots come to life. They come to life and they kill the technician who is busy. Instead of doing his job, he's just reading a Playboy magazine. And I think like it's just like a claw that like rips through the paper and like snaps his neck or something like that. So that would be our first kill.
Okay, we're sitting here talking about horror movies and something just fell over and all the dogs just scattered.
Well, you were just talking about you thought you had a ghost in the house before we started because all your shit's missing now.
You guys okay? The 3 dogs are just like they're so scared they're not barking. Like, y'all okay? I know it scared me too. I don't know what that was or who did it, but okay, enough.
Yeah. The ghost should just leave for about 90 minutes, come back later, you know, after you're done, you know, helping your client. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what you get here when we're live. We might have a ghost investigation while we're talking about killer robots.
So the lightning bolt I felt like was part of what they spent on, what do you call it, special effects.
Yeah.
And I guess it was kind of like it reminded me a little bit of Terminator.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the lightning strikes, and then the Terminator falls from the sky. Of course, nothing fell from the sky. Oh yeah, the scientist, because he's wearing a
Yeah.
coat. He's wearing
That's
a white coat.
yep.
He's a scientist.
That's right. He's smart.
Yeah, Mr. Smart, pulls out his pinup, thing,
Mm-hmm.
and then all of a sudden, right in the throat. And so I was like, okay, I see a little chopping, because I guess going back to one of the other questions you asked me, what was I expecting? I was expecting more chopping, like actual chopping, chopping people.
The movie was originally going to be called Killbots, and they realized it sounded really, really fucking stupid. So I guess they thought Chopping Mall sounded a little better. It's like it's like the little pun on shopping mall. It's chopping mall, and even
Yeah.
though there's no chopping in this movie at all, it's
Yeah,
just lasers and stuff
yeah,
like that. Yeah.
I get
Yeah.
the.
Well, I was just making sure.
No, I think I would have rather it been called. Well, I guess one person's chopping mall is another person's killbots. Whatever. They could have released. I don't know. Was it even released in the theaters? Oh, of course. Back then it would have been straight to VHS.
I don't know if this was in theaters or not. It definitely has a straight to video feel
Right.
because let's see here. Release. It failed poorly with audiences. It actually released as Killbots, March 21st, 86. It failed poorly with audiences. Surprise, surprise. They
Okay.
retitled it Chopping Mall and then released it again months later in September. So I guess it was in theaters probably, I don't know, for like a week or something like that, knowing this movie.
So, all right. So we're at the still. You okay, Teddy? So I'm still at the intro though, because of my notes.
Yeah, take your time. Go ahead.
My favorite characters, I thought, well, I really was disappointed we weren't going to see more of, were the bald guy and the sarcastic lady.
Yes.
That were making quips towards, like, oh, they look like the Three Stooges. The one in the middle looks like Mo.
Yeah. They were a lot of fun. I liked them a lot.
I expected to see them dead at some point.
I was actually surprised. I was actually surprised they weren't in this movie. Like they could have been like maybe killed walking out to their car or something like that. And I mean, they definitely would have added more fun to this movie. Not saying like I wasn't laughing a lot of the times, but I really liked them, and I wish they were in the movie a lot more. I think it's maybe 2 minutes, if that, during the presentation.
Right. Yeah. Because when they did this demonstration where the robot was supposed to scan the audience for good guys or bad guys, I thought I thought for sure that was going to be the first kill, that he was going to scan that sarcastic woman as a bad guy, and like, but I was wrong.
Yep.
All right, I already said this. I already felt like I was watching Fast Times. Oh, okay. All right. So now I mean, are we caught up? So, okay, we did the dressing room thing. Yep. Now the furniture store, right? With the three guys talking about the party. And I'm still at this time, I didn't even realize that the party that's going to take place is supposed to be inside the mall.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, because you texted me, you're like, wow, a party in the furniture store. And I said, it's they're horny teen movies, it's just, easy access to beds and couches. And I was smart. I was good. Like I said, no cough medicine this time. I made sure to write down the names. And we have Ferdy. I don't know if it's short for Ferdinand or if his parents were really high when they named him. But we have Ferdy, who I wrote down. He's the spaz. We have Mike, who is the gum chewing prick. And then we just have Greg, who is just Greg. So we meet them, and they're trying to talk about the party. They're trying to get, Ferdy laid because they're going to introduce him to Allison.
I thought his name was Marty.
No, it's Ferdy. Ferdy. Yeah.
I was calling him Marty this whole time. Okay.
I bet he wishes he was Marty. Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right, go ahead. Continue.
Yeah, so we meet them, and then we meet Rick and Linda. They're the only way to tell them apart. They're the two dark-haired ones, so that's easy. And then we meet Leslie, who I just wrote as the hot blonde. That's the basis of their characters. Those descriptions right there. and they're just talking about how they're just gonna get ready to get drunk and have fun after everybody leaves. And there's that's it. Like that's the whole plot. There's not much to that or these characters. But I will say this: Mike, the gum chewing prick, he was bringing back flashbacks of the asshole boyfriend from Valley Girl. I
Yeah.
was really thinking like he had such a punchable face and attitude. I just could not stand him.
Funny thing is, I was looking at him first. I also thought of the asshole prick from Valley Girl, but I just kept looking at his face, going, "Why does he seem so familiar to me?"
Mm-hmm.
And I realized it's because he looked identical to my very first boyfriend's brother.
Oh, jeez.
Doug Santos. Anyway, my very first boyfriend's brother. Um, I think one of his brothers' name was Mike. The other one I can't remember, but it could very well been the same person because they were small in stature and they were
Mm.
wrestlers. They all had these really strong-looking jaws. But
Oh, okay. The big square jaw, the Dick Tracy type jaw type of thing.
right, so I wasn't saddened to see Mike go first.
Yeah, me neither. I wish he was gone a lot earlier though.
Right,
Man.
out of kids, because of course the robots had to take out the two scientists first because they're the only people monitoring the monitors.
Mm. That's what they do.
And, to see what's going on inside the mall. But whatever. Apparently, the robots did not like pinup girls or what was the other guy? It was the eating something.
I don't know. I just wrote down the replacement technician, or we'll call him scientist. He shows up and he's looking for the Playboy guy. What I guess we'll call him. And
Right.
I don't know. I guess they're called protectors, but we can call them killbots. I guess the killbot killed him and then decided to hide the evidence for some reason. We never find his body, and then he's killed. I guess he gets like a hook or something shot in the back of his neck, and then that's it. So now the killbots are ready to protect them all and kill anybody in their way. And then we cut to what do we cut to? We cut to the scene where they're all dancing and making out in the in the store.
Aquanet.
Oh, that's right.
The girls are walking through the mall. Actually, I thought it was funny because I thought they were walking down the street. And I was like, where did this big can of Aquanet come from? And I was like, memories. Like girls had to have like big purses back then just to carry their can of Aquanet. I remember those days. Now I remember where Marty is. Marty comes from. Marty is the name of the very first security guy that gets killed.
Okay, Marty is Mr. Playboy. There we go, Mr. Centerfold.
I have written here, my note actually says, wait, where did Marty, the security guy, go after the robot killed him while looking at a nudie picture? Where did he go?
and that's true. Because, like I said, they're not the killbots aren't hiding any other bodies when they're blowing them up and setting them on fire or anything like that. They just have to hide the technicians, I guess. I don't know. Maybe they have more. Maybe it's the lab coat. They have more respect for them because they think they're scientists instead of just some horny teenagers.
Possibly. All right. Turning the page, party in the furniture store.
Yes.
So I was a little like, okay, so we're having a party in a furniture store. For God's sakes, close the curtains. Like.
Yeah, these people are. Trust me, they're definitely not shy. I did laugh at this scene because I like when Allison meets Ferdy, and they're just kind of, you can see puppy dog eyes for each other, and they're just hi.
And she's like,
hi.
Sarah turns around, she's like, hello, Miss Shy. Hello.
Yeah. and then you have Susie and Greg. They look at each other and they start just mocking them, going hi. So it's just kind of adding a little bit, I think, to the fun. So that's all that is, just them getting drunk, making out, and then we find out that there are 3 levels to the mall, and there's going to be 1 protector on each level, which is something I'm glad I wrote down because I forgot how many levels there were, and then because they eventually have to make it to the roof, so that was a way to keep track of how many of the killbots are left.
Right.
Let's see. Okay. Next we get to I wrote down sexy time with everybody. And every couple is different. This is actually, I'm not gonna lie, this is my favorite scene because of how absurd and different a lot of the couples are. Because we have Rick and Linda, the two brunettes. We have Rick. He's probably naked, but he's covered up in a blanket or in the sheet, and she walks in just her underwear,
They're
trying
married.
to.
They're married.
Oh, are they married? I thought
Yeah.
they were boys.
At the beginning, when she's like fixing the truck, like they don't even work at the mall. They're just going to this party, and she says, "Well, I guess I don't need this then," and she throws the lingerie at him. And and then once I realized, okay, so they're married and they're going to a party in a mall. They could have just gone home and done the same thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Because she said something like, "Oh, we haven't done something since the wedding."
Oh, okay. I must have missed that line. So
Yeah.
we have them, and they're she comes out and she's just in her bra and panties, and she's I guess it's some type of role playing, like she says police officer or something like that. So they're trying that. They're trying to have fun. Then we have we have Susie and Greg, and they're making out on the couch. And as Susie and they're making out, and Greg, in the ultimate pickup line says, "You smell like pepperoni." And she gets disgusted. She basically gets up off of him, stomps her feet, and walks away. And then he goes, "But I love pepperoni." Fucking idiot. So that's them. Then we have
like some silly little song while she's taking off her clothes, her lingerie. So now that I don't know, I have a fondness for the character now that I realize she's from The Young and the Restless. It reminded me of something I would have done. Boom.
She was very goofy. I really liked her character. I liked her a lot in this one.
Right.
Let's see. Then we go to the next bed, and Michael is covered up in the sheet. He's obviously going down on Leslie, but his butt is like the highest it's ever been pointed. You've ever seen someone's butt pointed to the ceiling ever, and it's just really awkward and stupid. You can tell that they don't like each other. That's the thing. At least that's how I took it from. And then we go to the two nerds, I guess you would say, Allison and Ferdy. And this is my favorite. They weren't making out. They weren't doing anything. They're watching Attack of the Crab Monsters on this old black and white TV. And I thought that was kind of fun because it kind of added to their personalities. They're not used to being in relationship types of stuff. So I thought that little reveal was actually kind of fun.
I thought it was cute. That also reminded me of me because I would be the girl at the party that's either grazing the snack table or somewhere else watching TV while the orgy is taking place. Because that party that was basically to me like an orgy. It was just three couples like split up in different areas having sex, with no curtains. Yeah. No curtains on the doors.
Well, just no curtains on the door. Yeah, they were in the same room. They didn't try to block off or have any privacy. Not even the married couple. They didn't care. You know what I mean? And then you have, the poor Allison and Ferdy who don't want to participate, but they can still hear everything. They can see everything because eventually they're going to have to, get up and go to the bathroom and walk through the orgy to go where they got to go. So, but yeah, you're right. That was the perfect word. It was like a little cute scene with them. They're still kind of falling for each other, but they don't want to pursue anything. So they're just watching some stupid ass B movie, which I thought was a lot of fun.
And then you hear one of my favorite quotes in the movie. Oh God, you're the king. You're the king.
Awful. So awful.
All right. So for me, like the next note I wrote down was about the janitor.
Yep, that's what I got. I got Dick Miller. He's one of those character actors. He's one of those, hey, it's that guy actor. You know what I mean? Because he's in everything. Mostly a lot of people know him from Gremlins, but he's been acting since since the 60s. He's just this grumpy old bastard, wants to go home, and he sees, what is he? He gets picked on by the other janitors because he's busy probably cleaning up vomit.
He's working.
Yeah. He's working, and they're walking past him with beers in their hands.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked like he was cleaning up some like terrible ice cream mess. Like the ice cream that spilt from the kid that was in the elevator or something.
Yeah. And again, they're mocking him, and he's grumbling under his breath. And then we get the one of the killbots shows up, and it knocks over his mop bucket with all the water in it, and he threatens to kill the killbot because he's like, oh great, I'm still stuck here type of thing. I got to clean up another mess.
Right.
And then I always call it, like, because you can, like I said, you can tell how cheap it is. He's standing in the puddle of water, and it shoots some type of bolt into the water.
It looked like what would be, like a taser.
Yep. And it turned on its electricity, and it electrocuted him. And you have this really bad, I like to call it force lightning, because it's like, when Luke Skywalker's getting electrocuted, you have this really bad but fun cheesy special effect of lightning going all over his body. And he's literally just standing there straight. After a while, it falls down, and his body just starts cooking. And then that's when we get the I guess you would say the one-liner where it's the killbot says, "Thank you, have a nice day," and then just drives away. So I thought that was a lot of fun.
Right, me too. And I actually did, when I saw him go, isn't that the guy from, and I was like, some gangster movie? Like, he looks like a guy that would play a mobster or something.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. So now we're back to the orgy party in the furniture store.
Yep, everybody's done, I think. And this is where Mike has to go give Leslie cigarettes.
Right. Yeah. First, the funny thing I thought was like, wait, in the previous scene, his butt's in the air going down,
mm-hmm.
and it's like, that's not on my list of things to do, or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, but you said it. You said it was okay last week, or something like that. He says.
It's not one of my approved items.
Yeah.
So anyway, and then suddenly they're finished, and she's in desperate search for a cigarette.
Yeah.
And again, like, cigarettes, like, that is such a novel concept. Like, I don't think they really talk about cigarettes or anything like that in movies nowadays. Of course, they also don't talk about, I'm going to go find Leslie.
Yeah, exactly. And it really brought back memories of that era, because remember cigarette machines back in the days. I used to always, one of the thing was, we'd always go to restaurants, and then when I'm done eating, my parents still were eating, they wanted, they didn't want me bugging them, so they just go play, and I would go to the cigarette machines, and then twist the dial and pull out the knobs and stuff like that. So yeah. So it was fun. It was fun seeing that, like, a cigarette machine in a movie, because you don't see those anymore. Like my daughter would have no idea what it is. You know what I mean? Nowadays, which I thought was kind of a fun little remembrance type of thing of growing up of that era. You know what I mean?
On a side note,
mm-hmm.
It has a movie, but talking about machines, when I was working at the Orchard this past season, I saw in the hangar, what they call it, the hangar. Anyway, it was called Fruit-O-Matic.
Fruit-O-Matic.
A fruit vending machine from, like, who knows how long ago it was, but yeah, it was like an antique, and the paint was peeling off, and it was called Fruit-O-Matic. And I'm like, they need to bring that back.
So, like, it's basically, I would just assume, like a vending machine for apples, and then you would put in like your dollar, and like, I don't want the red one, I want the green one, or something like that.
I guess. Well, I'm sure it must have had pears and maybe bananas. I mean, it couldn't have just all been apples. I mean, it could have been. It could have been.
Yeah.
Red Delicious, Granny Smith. Whatever. Yeah. Cortland, McAllen. Whatever kind of apples varieties existed when the machine was in use. But anyway, yeah, they should need to bring back the Fruit-O-Matic.
That's maybe wild.
Cigarette machines, but if they could, that same kind of pulling vending. And also, my favorite were the ice cream vending machines, because you could lift up the little door, and
I don't remember those.
Oh, I do. At the bowling alley, they were so much fun, because they were like, you had 3 little doors, and like ice cream sandwich was in the middle, and like chocolate covered vanilla on ice cream on a stick were
Uh-huh.
sides. And I'd put the money in and then lift the thing up really quick so that I could see the little contraption bring the ice cream
Oh,
up.
wow.
It was cool. That was my favorite vending machine.
I don't think we had those in my area. I definitely probably would have remembered it. Man, just like we said in the last episode, it's a time we miss nowadays. You know what I mean? The 80s, it was a cool time. Like everything was neat and new and weird. And yeah, precious precious memories, I guess we'll say. So we have Mike walking around, and you sent me a text. Yeah, he's walking around with no shirt on, and I said that's okay because Leslie walks around with no pants on later. It evens out. He gets his cigarettes, and he is shot in the back. We don't see anything, and then I guess his neck is grabbed, and then it's a quick cut, so we don't know how he was killed. Like I'm assuming his neck was snapped. We find out it's different later.
Well, he was shot here, and then he landed underneath something,
Okay,
kind of, facing the camera. And then the next time we see him, he's
he's
he's in the
sitting up.
yeah, he's in the prone position. That's prone, right? He's
Mhm.
sitting up with his feet straight and his throat slashed. Like,
Yeah, I didn't see any blade. Like they used a lot of weapons in this, but we didn't see any knives come out. And that's when Leslie, because like I said, he has no shirt. She's walking around with no pants on, and she finds him neck slit. Don't know how that happened. And she is now. We have this fun yet again gratuitous Jim Wynorski chase scene with close-ups on her butt. That's exactly where the lasers are coming, and this is like Buck Roger lasers. You know what I mean? Um, uh, and like
she had the little the Playboy bunny.
yeah,
Um,
I think she was a Playboy playmate. Actually, that could have been why
oh, okay.
the actress. Let's see what her name is. Susie Slater.
Okay.
Oh God, she's actually got it. Yep, she was a 1989 Playmate. It says, so that makes sense. That probably a little shout out to her being a Playmate. But Jim, he was full gratuitous shots on her butt, and that's exactly where the lasers went. The full like I said, Buck Rogers lasers with the sounds and the special effects, and then we get her death scene, which is probably where all the budget went in my opinion. So
Like all of a sudden it just like amplified.
yeah, because like we're seeing people getting killed off screen, like the guy Marty, he gets his neck grabbed. We don't really see anything. We get what's it? Mike is shot in the back. The slit and throat effect looked very very bad. Like
Yeah.
when she sees it, but then we get this, Melissa. We get this effect where definitely all of the boom. Look at that. Where all of the effects definitely went to all the budget, and for a movie that didn't have much budget, that's a pretty damn good head explosion, I gotta say.
Right. Well, and then not to mention everyone's watching. The whole committee is
Yeah.
standing there watching it happen.
And
Yeah.
so were you expecting something as extravagant as that, as we were already seeing basically 50 cents worth of lasers getting shot at people? Did you expect a head explosion like that?
It was all like little tiny things, like
Yeah.
like blood coming out of their mouth. Okay, the electrocution scene with the janitor.
Yeah.
That was,
Oh God. Yeah.
and then his face bubbled up. I was like, oh, okay, and then I guess they were accelerating.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
and so when that scene happened, when that kill happened, I was like, okay, now we're in Chopping Mall.
Yeah.
This is
Exactly.
what I was expecting with the title Chopping Mall, was more bits and pieces, and
Literally.
yes, literal bits and pieces with a lot of red and meat.
Who knows? Maybe this is what this is the reason why they had to use that bad lightning and everything, and the lasers. They spent all their budget on this head explosion. They're like, crap. What are we gonna do? We got 6 more people to kill in this movie. So
Right. Anyway, and I could tell that, they must have spent a lot of money on prosthetics,
Mm-hmm.
but not for heads, because when Mike was killed, like that was
You could see how fake it was, how it was, because like there was even like he's got a slit right against his neck, which is fine with a little bit of blood.
It was a different color than the rest of his skin.
Exactly. It was like it was a different color, and you could see how it wasn't fully like glued onto his neck under the cut right there. It reminded me, like you said, you missed it, but it reminded me of when we were watching Troll 2. And remember, Grandpa's face shows up in the mirror, and he's surrounded by all black, but you can kind of see like the black blanket underneath him, like move and stuff like that. And they didn't bother to fix it.
Yeah. Kind of reminded me of the early days of the Conan O'Brien show, when they would, before the year 2000.
The year 2000, yep.
And they go, in the year 2000. Anyway, that's going way back.
So,
all right. So yeah. So
and her head explodes in front of the whole group. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they see that, and that's when I got. This is when the protectors or the kilobots. That's when they actually bust into the furniture store and start just blowing everybody. Well, attempting to blow everybody away.
Yeah. I actually, it's funny. I wrote, "Why do the robots keep aiming for throats?" Okay. 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 So yeah. So I stopped taking notes for a while, and I was like, into the movie. So the next note I have is like when they start searching for weapons. But anyway, so yeah. So when the robots like blow up the glass in the furniture store.
They blow up the glass. They're shooting pillows and couches. There's feathers flying everywhere, and the group have to first. The girls are smart. They grab their shirts. That's the most important thing. They make sure to grab their shirts.
Yeah.
And then they're hiding out in the back room, and this is where they decide to split up, because the men. No, wait. What was it? They get the ladies in the air ducts.
Right, but then the robots were approaching too quickly, so the dudes just took off.
That's right. That's what it was. They were all going to get in the air ducts. And this is the part I thought was actually kind of funny, because the order they go up into the air ducts is not the order we see them crawling in. Because if you remember, Susie from Young and the Restless, she's the first to go up. And then we have Linda, the dark-haired one. And then we have Allison. And then as we're following them as they're crawling, army crawling through it, in the front is Allison and Linda, and Susie pulling up the rear. So, and so that I thought was a kind of a fun, messed up like continuity problem. Which, if I would have fired the editor of this movie, telling the director how bad this was, how messed up it was. That's like it's a very glaring mistake, but it fits the tone of the movie.
Well, we can assume that there wasn't some sort of intersection up in the air duct, a four-way intersection where Susie could have just, pulled off to the side somewhere and let Allison and Leslie pass by her. She tucked up behind them.
I think you're giving her a lot of leeway for being in the Young and the Restless is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing I felt bad for her is because they were talking about how hot it was up there.
Yes.
And I can attest, I was like, I wonder if they're really filming in the middle of summer, because that sucks in LA. And, but they were talking about how like hot the metal was.
Yeah. They had to pull their sleeves up to cover up.
Leslie is literally in there with no sleeves. Like she's wearing like 2 layers of lingerie and a little tiny lacy vest thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry, Susie's doing that. And she's like, not once did she say, I feel like my skin's gonna burn. Whereas Leslie and Allison were like, just pull your sleeves up like this and go like this, But anyway, it didn't matter because they weren't up there for long, because Susie wanted to leave the air duct because she wanted to go find her Greg.
She wanted to go find Greg. And while the women are doing that, the men are over at the sporting goods section, grabbing what you would always find in a sporting goods section: semi-automatic rifles and propane tanks.
Which lead me, okay, so the guys split when they, they realize they have to leave the girls in the air duct because
Mm-hmm.
the spots are coming. Rick says, quick, let's go find some weapons. And I'm like, where the fuck are they going to go find weapons? And like, what are they talking about? Like broomsticks or something?
Mm-hmm.
Little did I know.
Well, I told you it's the 80s, but as welcome Tom to the show, Tom says, well, it's America, Makes perfect sense.
And,
He says America, wouldn't be surprised. So
I mean, I guess maybe back then there would have been like a Dick's Sporting Goods or something, kind of like how Macy's or
mm-hmm.
Nordstrom's is at the end of the mall, its
Mm-hmm.
whole thing. But you know what? I retract my questions because
Okay.
I like who stocks full paints of cans of paint and like turpentine and varnish remover in a mall. Sears.
Really? Well, that makes sense. I mean, even in the 90s, I thought you could buy guns at like a Walmart or something like that, like handguns or something.
It depends
I'm
what state you're in. I mean,
That's true.
but that Walmart was not in the mall,
True. True.
But I was thinking, where in the mall am I gonna go find like, full cans of paint and all this other stuff, all these like explosive items, the flammable.
The girls literally found gas cans with gas in it, already in it.
Now that I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess they couldn't be repetitive with the turpentine because
Why not?
later in the movie,
Mhm.
we go into interior a different hardware store that
Mhm.
has, turpentine and
The
paint.
paint and all that stuff.
Right. Anyway, okay. So far we're not skipping ahead. Oh
Nope.
wait.
Go
Okay.
ahead.
Blah 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 blah. Who moved Mike? Okay. Why are the robots on me for throats? The dude. Oh, so the dudes, when they're all loaded up with their weapons, they looked like Ghostbusters. when the three of them are standing there and they're all ready, I felt like that should have been a comedy relief scene right there.
They needed to be walking in like slow motion and stuff
Yeah.
like. Well, they did have a really shitty line. He said, "Let's go send these fuckers a Rambogram." You know what I mean? They
Is
said
that
that.
what he said? I
Yeah.
thought he said a rainbow gram. I'm like, what's a rainbow gram?
What's a Rambogram? And I will say this: these guys are they get into a shootout with one of the protectors, with one of the killbots, and these three guys plus the protector itself are some of the worst shots ever. There's 3 against 1. They're shooting the protector. It's not getting hit. It's shooting its lasers at them. They're not getting hit. So obviously they're not that great of a security robot if it can't fucking hit 3 people. You know what I mean?
Right?
And then we think it's defeated, air quotes. We think it's defeated. Someone throws a can of propane under it, and a miracle shot from these 3 losers. You know what I mean? Blows it up, and they think it's gone, or they think it's defeated. As they walk away, it's lack of a better term, I guess you say, arms pushes itself back upright, and it starts going away.
Again, it reminded me, there's another thing about Terminator, when the robots just regather and stand back up. But my favorite quote at this time in the movie, where did you learn how to use weapons? I watched Dirty Harry 24 times.
Yeah. Okay, Ferdy. Sure you did. Okay. What I got next, next scene I have is when the girls are actually they're out of the vents and they have the gas cans. They're running through the area of the mall. They got gas cans, and this is where poor Susie. Like I said, I really dug her. I really liked her a lot, and not just because I'm a horror guy and it's Barbara Crampton, but I really liked her character. She gets shot in the leg, and it's just sad to see that she's laying there,
and
screaming.
2 girls just watch.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. She's just laying there screaming for help, and they're busy hiding. I get you're scared, but wouldn't you try to make a break to save your friend?
Right.
And
lasers are literally going over Leslie, so why don't they do the army crawl and like drag her off to the side or something?
Exactly, and this one was sad because it shoots. You see here in the image, she's got a gas canister next to her. It shoots that, and she set poor lady set on fire, burning and roasting to death while they watch. And this was another thing that I was kind of laughing. The dummy falls down, and it's immobile. It's not moving, but you still hear Barbara Crampton screaming. So there's some more fun bad editing. But this one bummed me out because I really really liked the Susie character. Even though I said earlier we don't get a lot of character development, you know what I mean? I thought she was sweet. I kind of fell for her when she was kind of losing it in the air ducts.
Yes.
So yeah, that one really bummed me out. And again, like you just said, the friends didn't even try to help her. You know what I
Right.
mean? They didn't even make an effort.
I'm noticing now she's wearing this big shirt. I must have missed something. Where'd that come from?
Uh, I don't know. Did she? Because I don't think she had it on in the vents, did she?
No, no, we just
I
discussed
didn't
it.
even notice that. You're right.
We'll just assume she grabbed it in the store where they grabbed it.
Where the gas cans, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get it. You guys get the gas cans. I'm gonna get one gas can and a shirt to cover me up.
I need something to set on fire.
Yes. She knew that she wasn't gonna make it out.
Right. I mean, even in this picture, like, look at how her hand is stretched out. She's really, really.
She's
It reminds me
reaching.
of dog Teddy, my blind dog Teddy, when I try to go outside, and he's terrified of what unknown air he's taking to, and he grabs onto the floor, and I have to drag him across the floor, and his nails or anyway. But yeah,
Poor Teddy.
um. So, I know,
Okay.
Teddy. So yeah, that's when I wrote. Okay, and then but I did like that there was a little bit of conversation because Leslie was instructing them on how to make a petrol bomb or a Molotov cocktail.
Yeah.
They were like, "How do you know how to do
Linda.
this?"
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, they were like, "How do you know how to do this?" And she says something like, "Well, sometimes you got to do whatever it takes." Meaning what?
What does that mean? Whatever it takes to what? Have you prepared for killer robots before? You know what I mean?
Right. Like, exactly what are you and Rick into in your married life? Like, do for a living? Made me wonder what they do for a living. Okay, so yeah, so that happens.
Okay. What I
And
got next is this is where Rick is on top of the elevator and he's putting propane tanks on top of it because they want to blow it up and crush one of the protectors underneath. And again, he does this, hero jump. He jumps from here to the next plane, the next balcony, I guess you would say. And again, the worst shots in the world. Nobody can hit it. Doesn't matter if you've seen Dirty Harry 27 fucking times. And then Allison shows up. She looks at Ferdy. She takes I'm assuming if it's Dirty Harry, it's probably like a 357 Magnum, and with one shot hits the gas canisters. It explodes off screen. We know that one of the protectors is crushed, and we get another. How do you know how to do that? My dad was a Marine. We just get that drop line.
it's like, but Spicoli, my dad's got a lot of tools. I can fix things.
Yeah.
Except she actually did it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then I didn't take notes during this whole time. I think I was being attacked by dogs.
Yeah.
I sent pictures.
Yeah, like I said, kids, they don't know safe spaces and stuff when parents are trying to work.
I don't know. Maybe Eric could post the picture that I sent of me being.
I will do that. If you're listening, go to the Watch What Now Facebook or Instagram, and I will post some behind the scenes photos of what poor Melissa has to go through to give you guys the entertainment that we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. So, because the next thing I have is Leslie. But,
Okay. What we got next is they realize that they make a plan because they're all in the restaurant, and they make a plan to go to the third level because that's where it's the 80s. So of course it's the master computer where they want to go up, and they want to somehow hack the system to turn off the killbots. And they're running up the escalator, and this is where Greg is killed. Remember? Greg is at the top of the escalator, and one of the killbots grabs him and throws him off the second floor all the way down to the ground.
Well, he was ready to die anyway because
Yes.
he was like giving the Inquisition, the Spanish Inquisition to the two other ladies. Why did you let Susie die? Why did you leave? Why did you let her leave the air duct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where she's safe.
Yeah.
And so he was already ready. He was already 1 foot out.
Yeah. And that was a big stunt. And in the little bit of research I looked on this, I guess the stunt coordinator, the stunt person, he actually fell from that level onto like a crash mat or whatever. But he fell from that, and he was kind of weary of wanting to do it. So Jim Wynorski, the director, he volunteered himself to do it. So he fell, and he got up, brushed himself off. But what he did not tell the stunt guy is he also broke his rib doing that.
Oh, Jesus.
So obviously he kept his mouth shut so he can get the stunt guy to do it. But yeah, Jim jumped from that balcony, broke his rib, and kept his mouth shut just to get the shot.
Wow. What happened to the stunt guy?
Apparently he did it and he was successful, but just the fact that the director broke his rib and didn't say a freaking thing.
Wow.
I would not like to work with this dude. I really wouldn't.
That's caused a lawsuit. And as Tom says, Molotov cocktails are explosive.
Yes, they are. And stay away from them unless you have a friend that is set on fire. Please try to put them out or do whatever you can to save them. Don't leave them.
So Leslie's got Greg. He gets thrown down, and
Now we got a shootout between a protector and Rick, and he hits the protector, and we get more of the 80s force lightning as it's spinning around, and it shoots and kills Linda.
Right. That's what I was like. I was like, why is Linda just standing there?
Yeah.
Like laser beams going right past.
Now she's hiding behind something when poor Susie's set on fire. She's ducking and covering, but when there's laser beams and bullets flying around, she stands up straight. You know what I mean? And she gets hit right in the gut and falls down and dies.
Rick, don't get hurt. Like as
Idiot.
if you know that.
Yeah, idiot. I didn't hate her, but I'm like, man, you were really stupid in that part. So she dies, and then Rick does like basically a kamikaze. He gets in, I don't know what he's in, if he's in like a motorized wheelchair or something that's getting him.
He's in one of those carts that like you see at the airport, or I guess in this case at the mall, for people, the people mover cart.
The people mover cart. So he's in a people mover cart. And as this killbot is spinning around with the lightning and everything, he just rams right into this thing, and I think he gets electrocuted. I think that's how he dies, if I remember correctly.
Right, but his final blow to the robot was fatal, but not before he died first.
Right, because the protector then explodes, I believe.
And then he said, "They killed Leslie, those bastards."
Makes me think of the South Park.
Exactly.
And then we get, okay, so all we have left is Ferdy and Allison. We got Dirty Harry and we got Allison, together. And she wants to. They're still looking for the master computer. They're finally on the top level, and she wants to split up, and he doesn't want to.
Right. Yeah, because she was like, well, I was surprised she wanted to split up, actually, but whatever.
Well, her dad was a Marine. She could handle it,
And here's a question then I wrote down is, why is Allison's bandage wrapped around her sweater and not?
They're not doctors. They don't know what they're doing.
Not her wound.
Yeah, that would make more sense, wouldn't it?
I guess. Okay. Now knowing what the sweater does, because I was going to say, why didn't they just take the sweater off and wrap the wound? But later the sweater comes in handy because the stunt double has to use the sweater to cover her face when it crashes into the glass. But anyway, that's a spoiler alert.
Oh, well, the movie came out in '86. You had plenty of time to watch it. And my friend always told me, he says, if you guys are watching or listening to a podcast that's describing a movie, you should probably see the movie first. So you take that chance. Um, so they split up, and then we have the final protector left, and I think this is the one that they thought they killed earlier. And Ferdy is knocked out. He tries to shoot the protector, runs out of bullets, throws the gun at it, and then throws then I think he throws a fire extinguisher at it, and then I think the protector literally just doesn't just run up and like tackle him and knocks him down.
No, the protector robot
Mm-hmm.
throws the fire extinguisher back.
That's what it was. Okay.
And it, I assumed crushed him in the chest.
Yeah, it hit him in the chest, and he took a really big fall, and he smacks his head on the linoleum floor, on the floor,
the tile.
the tile. And we do think he's dead because there is some blood underneath his head.
Right, which one would assume with a head injury such as that.
Mm-hmm. You're a goner.
Gone.
So
right.
now it's just Allison, and I thought this was kind of a cool scene. She has to hide in the pet shop. This is the part that my wife hated.
Off, by the way.
I forgot about this scene. I'm not gonna lie. I forgot about this scene.
I said to myself, how dare Eric suggest this film knowing that pets were involved?
Well, but there are no deaths. There are no deaths of animals.
I know that. I know that before the scene started.
I have learned my lesson from Carrie. Okay, I've learned my lesson from the episode of Carrie, and I told you I felt bad. But I'm out watching this on the couch. My wife, who is deathly afraid of snakes and spiders, the only time she ends up paying attention to the movie while I'm watching it is when poor Allison is under one of the shelves in the pet shop, and the protectors driving through, and poor Allison is just covered in tarantulas, and the tarantula's crawling up her arm. There's a snake that slithers underneath there, and that was just a fun but unnecessary kind of element of danger that I thought was kind of cool among everything else. And then she goes from that, and then
it leads you to wonder if she's going to squeal or not. Is she going to make a noise?
Yeah.
Right? So it's a little suspenseful,
mm-hmm.
And she keeps moving the bag of pet food, from her eyes, and it's like, is the robot going to notice her eyes
or hear the crumpling of the bag?
Right, but the robot's just like, if we knew at the beginning of the movie that the robots were just going to only look this way, I mean, everyone would crawl underneath.
Well, again, and their only line of sight, the little visor on them, that's where their lasers come out. That again makes me wonder, why the fuck did Linda just stand up in the middle of a firefight? You know what I mean?
Right. Laser fight.
Yeah. The next thing I got, this is where Allison is trying to get to a different level. She's hanging on the banister, like the railing.
Yes.
And it's a pretty cool stunt because I don't remember how she ends up falling. I don't know if she gets shot at or if she just slips, but she falls on this display, and it's like a little tent display, but that thankfully saves her from getting from all the trauma of dying, falling from that height. And I just thought it was a really cool stunt. And then that's where she walks into like the paint supply store.
Well,
if I'm correct.
Let's go, So as that's happening, I'm wondering, what would I do in that situation? Because she's like the railings, she's holding on to the railings of the, the mall, and she's scooting along, and the rods are bigger than her hands.
Correct.
Like, hands can't go all the way around. Like, would I be able to, at this age, peer up? And, I was wishing her, I was like, get closer to the light fixtures so that she could be like, kind of stand a little bit on the light fixture, not totally because it'd break and fall and crash, but just to get her balance a little bit. And thank goodness she didn't make it to the light fixture, but she did find a little tiny ledge at the bottom of the balcony, whatever you call it, at the mall, and she was able to lift herself up just enough. But you could see her as she's moving along, and then she's like, looks pretty strong because it's a stunt person, but then when they do the close up and she's peering up, she's like You know,
Hey,
when I was in high school, I could do pull-ups. I could do a few, and I
mhm,
could hang for a really long time. But nowadays, I don't know if I'd be able to do it.
I couldn't do it now, and I couldn't do it then. So God bless her. So she falls, she crashes, and then she gets into the paint supply store. And
Uh,
this is where she is just opening paint can after paint can and paint thinner and just dumping it all over the floor. And she coaxes the final protector to come in and go after her. And as it does, she gets out of the way, and its treads are just slipping and sliding, and it just cannot move at all, and it's like spinning around. And she has her hero moment. I don't know where she got it. I don't know if she had it on her or if she just randomly found it at the
oh
paint
no,
store.
she had it the whole time.
Oh, that's right, because
Yeah,
that's why she didn't take off the sweater, right?
yeah. When they went into the gas where they got the gasoline cans, she was off to the side, and she like looked over and stuck a flare down her shirt.
That's right. So it's a good thing she wasn't carrying any of the gasoline cans with the flare down her shirt. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
So she sees that the killbot is spinning, and she pulls the flare out and cracks it, and she has her 80s hero movie line. She repeats, "Have a nice day," and she throws it in there, and the fucking thing explodes. The entire store explodes, and
Yet she left without a scratch. It was amazing.
well, her dad's a Marine. She knows how to shoot guns. She knows how to survive and use flares and
There
destroy
was
robots.
there was no soot, no black, nothing on her
Her
face.
hair was still in place, but it was 86, so it was probably all the Aquanet. So
Which, thinking back, they could have just used the Aquanet.
yeah,
Oh, but wait, it was left behind in the furniture store. Never
yeah.
mind.
And that's when old Ferdy shows up. They embrace, and we have a happy ending.
But he's holding a roll of toilet paper.
That's covered in blood. I'm assuming he was mopping up the back of his head when he fell. Remember when he fell?
Yeah.
He had there was blood all over the tile floor. So he got up, and instead of looking for her first, he went to a bathroom and got a roll of toilet paper to mop up the blood in the back of his head. I
Okay.
guess.
Did he land on a roll of toilet paper and that somehow it saved him? Did he have toilet paper shoved down his
Maybe she had a flare down the front of hers. He had toilet paper down the front of his. Who knows?
right? And then so happy embrace, the camera pans up and it's daylight.
Yep.
So the mall is about to open and we can only assume what is going to be discovered when
Oh, can
when
you
mall
imagine being the mall security that has to walk into that mess?
I know. I know. It's shocking that none of it. Well, I guess because the paint store didn't explode until right before dawn, so it wouldn't have
Mhm.
made yet. I guess.
Yeah. So that everybody is Chopping Mall from 1986. I'm still wondering. I know it's been a while since you were listening to NPR. I'm just wondering why the hell they were even talking about this movie to begin with.
God, I wish I knew. I don't know. It could have been like music that was used or special effects
Because
or
there was a lot. It was just like one use of music throughout this entire film. It's just the same use of that techno music that was going from beginning to end. But I don't think there was any songs or anything else that played during it. I think it was just that one piece of music.
I don't know. It was like it was, because I remember I was working at the Orchard. I was driving home from work, and I just always had NPR on, or the local Vermont radio station where they talk about things,
Hmm.
and um and all of a sudden I just heard Chopping Mall, and my ears perked up, and I was like, what?
Yep.
And yeah, I don't know. Maybe we could find it on the in our text exchange or something.
We probably do. So with that, I already told you my favorite scene, Melissa. Did you reveal what your favorite scene of the movie was? My favorite scene was the makeout, the different couples in the orgy, I guess you would say. And then we ended up with Ferdy and Allison watching Attack of the Crab Monsters. That was my favorite scene. Did you have one
Um,
for Chopping Mall?
I thought I wrote it down. Let's see. I guess let's see my favorite scene.
Or a favorite scene if you can think of one off the top of your head.
I guess I guess it would be where they're in the store with getting the cans of gasoline, and they're asking Leslie. She's like, whatever it takes. Because I remember she was talking about the type of gas,
Uh-huh.
like, this grade or that grade, whatever it takes. So it reminded me a little bit of Mr. Mom when
Oh God, I love that movie. Yeah.
Terry Gar, when she's like, 36, whatever it was, 36, 30, whatever it takes.
Yeah.
She's talking about the caliber of gun.
Yep.
And let's see, my favorite quote was going to be, thank you, have a nice day, until that's how she ended the film. So my next favorite quote would be, oh God, you're the king, you're the king.
I wasn't thinking of a favorite quote, but you know what? I might go with let's send these fuckers a Rambogram, or not gonna lie, to go with my favorite scene, you smell like pepperoni. I like pepperoni.
And how would you rate the film?
I overall, I know what you're getting into right away with this movie. It's fun, it's cheesy. You definitely need to be in the right mood for it. But overall, we're also ranking it like, how much fun we have with it. Not just, we're not just ranking it on how well it's made. I gave it 3.5 exploding heads.
Wow, you're better than me. I give it 2 cans of Aquanet.
From the lady who gave Troll 2 4. Wow. You know what it was? It's because there was no sexy witches eating corn with another person.
By the way, every time I have to start a new thing of notes for, I always have to go past that where it says, the witch dancing in the forest holding a cob of corn. I always stop on that page, and
again, happy memories.
Yeah.
That's what this podcast is about. We take you back to the 80s at times, or we make you thinking about a sexy lady with a cob of corn. Take that however you want.
Right.
Oh God, you're the king. So I had a lot of fun. I'm glad we were finally able to get back together. And next episode, we're staying in horror. It is my choice. We're getting out of the 80s. We're getting out of the mall. We're getting out of the cheese. And I gave you some suggestions, and you picked a virus. So I'm sorry. You're gonna have to be like Neil and read a movie.
Okay.
It's on Tubi. It's a Spanish horror film called Rec, REC, short for record.
Okay.
So REC, it's on Tubi. It's a Spanish film about a news reporter who goes to a firehouse after hours just to see what the midnight shift guys do. They're called to an apartment complex where a woman has been taken ill.
Okay.
And it's the virus basically, it doesn't kill them, but it kind of turns them into zombies type of thing. But the government knows what it is, and they are quarantining the whole building, so no one is allowed to leave, type of thing. So this, Melissa, we're going back to the scary stuff, and like with Train to Busan, like the one you said you didn't want to watch all by yourself. I will say this is a horror movie I saw for the first time in maybe the last 2 or 3 years. And I watched it in the dark. I'm not making you. You can watch it with the lights on, but I was screaming at my TV during the finale because of how it was getting to me. I was watching it in the living room. My wife was in the bedroom. She's yelling, "Eric, are you okay?" Yeah, just some scary shit happening on the TV. So anyone listening or watching, if you want to watch ahead of time, we are watching Rec. REC. It is available on Tubi, but it is in Spanish, so there is subtitles. I'm sure there is a dubbed version out there if I can find it, and that's what you prefer.
Who's making noise over there?
Is it the ghost again?
I don't know what it was.
Good Lord. We got to stop doing horror movie episodes. We got to stop getting together when you're in the middle of nowhere. You know what I mean?
Well, I told you this is an old schoolhouse,
Yeah.
one room schoolhouse buildings.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know. I don't know from which year to which year it was a school,
Uh-huh.
but yeah, who knows? Well, hopefully there's no well outside. My friend Shelly always says, Shelly, he's
I
always
know,
got
Shelley. Yep.
something to say
Yep.
that, when you're in these old buildings, like where you're going to find the most ghost activity is like where the wells are, where
Mm-hmm.
they used to have open wells because kids always fell into the wells.
Yep.
So you have, a lot of ghost kids around areas where wells were. So
Mm-hmm.
I haven't located the well on this property yet.
Well, be careful. You don't want to find it the hard way and fall in. So,
Yeah. Well, I'm sure it's covered up by now.
you never know. So with that, join us for the next episode for Rec. Please follow the Facebook and Instagram pages for any updates. Melissa said I could. I will show those two behind the scenes photos of her and the dogs trying to watch Chopping Mall. If you're listening on audio, please rate and review us. If you give us a 5-star rating and a description on Apple Podcasts and send it to the Instagram page, we will allow you to choose something from the Coming Soon folder on Facebook, and we will push that request up to the top like we did with Valley Girl. Shout out to Barb. She wanted to make it tonight, but she is working, but she will hear us.
My dog moved the pair of pants that my phone is propped up on.
Again, this is what you guys are getting. So with that, thanks everybody who is watching and listening. Thank you to Melissa for being a wonderful co-host, and we've made it 8 episodes. I'm glad you decided to go down this journey with me as we just get together and talk movies. And to everybody in the chat, Tom, Paula, Chris was here. Patrick is always here. Marty, all the way from Ireland. That poor guy stayed up super late to be here. We appreciate you, Marty. Thank you. He shares us out a lot. We will see you in, knock on wood, couple weeks for Rec. Anything you got to say before I click the end stream, Melissa?
No, I just want to say thank you to everyone for participating, and also don't support your local animal shelter, but yeah, support your local animal shelter. Adopt, don't shop, because every life you save out of a shelter saves 2 more.
That's right.
So.
And it's a good thing. Many things, many people and animals, are helped in that situation. So please do that. And with that,
in the United States right now, when people are being deported, like their animals are being left behind, and so the shelters are extremely overcrowded, and unfortunately some shelters in certain states will euthanize the animal to make space for more animals. So really sad. Anyway,
it's a terrible thing, but adopting is, you see, like you said, Melissa, you save more than just one life. It's great, and it's a wonderful thing.
Even foster, which is temporary.
It's better than being in the cages. It is. So with that, I am Eric, my lovely co-host, Miss Melissa Hill. We will see you. Hopefully you don't act the way I did watching Rec, but we will see you guys in roughly a couple of weeks for Rec, and then after that, we hit our episode 10 milestone. So
we might rename the show "Watch What When."
Exactly. But we're getting more consistent. I think when the move is done, I think we'll get more on a consistent basis.
Right. Yes.
But it is what it is. We had a good crowd tonight. So thank you to everybody. I've said the spiel 200 times. We will see you in the next episode. Good night, everyone.
Bye.